In this video, we're going to look behind the usual be yourself advice and start understanding why it can be so difficult. And why do we want to do this? Well, once you understand it, you can work with it instead of against it. We've all been given the advice before of just be yourself, like it's the easiest thing in the world. For some of us, it's really not. If this is you too, you might then start beating yourself up about it, thinking, surely it can't be that difficult. What's wrong with me? But here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just working with outdated equipment. Before we learn more, I'm Chloe, and I think it's really important but really difficult to be yourself, so I'm trying to do some things to change that. I mentioned outdated equipment. I was talking about your brain. You might have assumed that the main thing from stopping you from being yourself is external, so maybe social pressure, but it's actually more likely to be your brain. Humans are social animals designed to live in groups to survive. So in prehistoric times, rejection from your tribe wasn't just uncomfortable, it could be life-threatening. You needed your community for protection, food, and survival. To protect against this, our brains developed a deep primal fear of rejection. The need to be part of a community is so deeply ingrained in us that our massive human brains freak out if something might get us rejected. So our brain solution is to make us be a chameleon and fit in. So to make the community like you, no matter what it takes, so you can stick around and benefit from their care and protection. Otherwise, well, you starve on your own or you get eaten by something else. Our brain really does not care if fitting in makes us unhappy. It just wants us to not die. There are studies and everything to show this. In 1951, a group of people was recruited and all but one were told to give the incorrect answer to a question. The final person, who wasn't in on the deception, then also gave a purposefully incorrect answer just so that they wouldn't stand out from the group. And this is a study that's been replicated since. It seems to be a pattern in human behaviour. So if our brain is still operating as if it's in 5 million BC, I've no idea if that's an accurate number, but something like that, you might be thinking, like I did, well, surely we can switch that part of it off now or train it away from that. Life is not the same as that anymore. But no. In our modern world, there can still be huge consequences to not fitting in. If we get rejected from a group, we don't necessarily risk being eaten by some prehistoric creature, but it can be a threat in other ways. It can affect our livelihoods if we rely on the community for income or support in some way. So we still try and fit in with the group. It's just like we're cavemen, but with iPads now. Maybe you change out of your toothpaste-stained hoodie when you go into the office, or you smile at those clients who are making your life hell. This helps you keep your job and your pay and buy food and pay your rent. This theme of fitting in for survival has somehow continued into our modern world. And this is recognised by lots of smart people as well. It is really difficult to do your own thing, even now. So is this actually a problem? Surely if we need to be able to do this for survival, then that's just how we need to live. But what happens when adopting the values and behaviours of others is to such an extent that we forget what our actual values and behaviours are? If we're completely losing our own personality within the personas that we create to please others. It's one thing showing a different side of yourself, it's another to create a whole new you. Do you feel yourself adding layers of someone else's personality, which slowly bury your own? Maybe you dress differently, don't laugh as loudly, or you find yourself nodding along with things that you just really don't agree with. Do you then start reflecting on this and thinking, why the hell did I just say that? Or you find yourself somewhere you really don't want to be. Yeah, it's fine to adapt to different situations, but you don't want to lose yourself entirely. So it does matter. But back to why it's difficult to be yourself. So it's not just about evolution, it can also be about our culture. Many of us are taught from a young age to follow rules and quite literally stay in line. Depending on your culture or your upbringing, you might have had a lot of pressure to fit in. This can be a great way of finding a like-minded community and bonding over similar values and activities. But again, sometimes the rules and expectations can cause us to shrink ourselves way too much. And the fitting in expectation can seep its way into other parts of us. So we think we have to get rid of any behavior or trait of ours that we don't see in others. And this is hard, but it's even harder if you're part of a group that is systematically oppressed or discriminated against or faces a lot of prejudice. There can be even more barriers to being yourself. It might be unsafe or even illegal for you to be yourself in certain places. And just a side note that this video is not going to solve that. It's a wider problem, but to acknowledge that it does go deeper than just feeling a bit awkward. But again, it's not a you thing. It's a people thing in general. It's not a fault of yours. So now we know that our ancient old brains, plus the nature of living alongside other humans, just naturally can make it very difficult to be ourselves. Even in our modern world now, there is still a lot of potential threats to survival for some more than others. And if we don't have a direct threat to our survival, we can still perceive them as a threat, so it still feels very real. So, what do we actually do with this information? Well, like I said at the start, we now know what we're working with. We know that it isn't because we're useless or awkward or stupid that we can't just be ourselves. There's a very tangible, very real, evidence backed reason. So maybe we can now, very slowly over time, put a bit less pressure on ourselves to always feel like we're being very authentic. If you find it hard, you're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is just doing its brain thing, and you're managing it the best you can in a world that keeps triggering your survival instincts. So, next time someone tells you to just be yourself, as well meaning as that may be, you'll now know why that can feel so impossible. You're fighting against millions, possibly billions of years of evolution and a modern world that is not without its problems. If this resonates with you, make sure you're following this channel. This is just the start of unpacking the minefield that is figuring out how to stop caring about fitting in and how to start paying attention to what makes you feel like yourself. Thanks for watching.